Welcome to FinBuild classes to lecture 4 on bond mathematics. So we'll be seeing in this session the valuation of bond with some variations. So what is the variations we are talking about? So we're talking about the variations. So what is the variations? If suppose if bond is redeemable, if bond is redeemable in installments, if bond is redeemable in installments, what will be the price of the bond? What will be the price of the bond? Let us take a simple example. Say suppose we have the company, right? So normally a company will be issuing a bond, and the bond amount will be redeemable in installment at a certain point of time, or we can say certain period of time. So how the situation will work out? We know that at each payment, at each payment, the payment includes the interest amount and the principal amount. The interest amount and the principal amount. The interest amount may vary, and the principal amount will remain same. So what will happen? The outstanding amount, okay, of each payment we make will keep on decreasing. The same way, the interest amount that we pay will also keep on decreasing. So let us have the explanation with an example. Suppose we have a situation that there is a public sector company that is issuing a bond. Suppose we have corporate bond, or a company which is issuing a bond, say a bond issued by a corporate or a public sector company, whatever may be the entity. Say a 5-year bond, 5-year 8% bond with a face value of say rupees 1000. So we have an example of a bond of the maturity value of 5 year with 8% as the rate of interest, and the face value is nothing but rupees 1000. Suppose the bond amount bond amount is amortized equally over its life. So how it will work? See, the bond amount which is being amortized equally over its life is nothing but we have only the life of the bond is 5 years. So every 5 year we have to pay a certain installment amount, that is nothing but the maturity value that we have is 1000. So this 1000 will be paid in a equal installment. It's nothing but we have to pay the 5 installments, say the amount of 200 each, the amount of 200 each. But we know that the principal amount that will remain same, right? But the interest amount will vary, so we have to determine the interest amount also for each payment, or the installment that has to be paid at a certain period of time or a certain point of time. Let us have a clarity on with a timeline. So we have a timeline over here, and we have a period: first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. So here it says amortized equally over its life. So it means that the outstanding amount that we have, okay, for the first year we'll be having an outstanding amount of say 1000 rupees, right? In the second year we have to pay the installment amount, say 200 at the end of the first year, 200 at the end of the second year, 200 at the end of the third year, 200 at the end of the fourth year. Okay, now this amount, the outstanding amount, the remaining amount will be subtracted, right? From the 1000 we'll be subtracting 200, will be having the remaining amount is nothing but 800. And at the end of second year it has been paid, we have the remaining amount called 600, and the remaining amount we have 400, and the remaining amount we have 400 minus 200 is nothing but 200. So these are the outstanding amount that we have. And now we have to calculate the interest amount. So while calculating the interest amount, as I said, the interest amount will vary. So in the interest amount, we have the interest rate which is given along with the bond is 8%. So 8% is the interest amount. So we'll be calculating 8% into the outstanding amount. 8% into 1000, we have 80. The similar way, 8% into 800, we have 64. Then 8% into 600, we have 48. Then 8% into 400, we have 32. Then 8% into 200, we have 16. So we have seeing here that the interest amount keeps on varying: 80, 64, 48, 32, 16, and the principal amount will remain same. It's nothing but the 5 installments of rupees 200 each. So this will remain same: 200, 200, 200, 200, and 200. So this 2 will be added. We term it as nothing but the cash inflow, or the interest received along with the cash inflow of a certain period of time. Say for first year we are receiving a cash inflow of 280, 200 plus 64, 264, 200 plus 48, 248, 200 plus 32, 232, then 200 plus 16, 216. So this is the cash inflow of a certain period of time. So nothing, the certain period of time is nothing but for 5 year period of time. So now we have to discount the, this has to be discounted to determine the value of the bond. So putting the equation over here, the value of the bond is equal to the first, for the first year the coupon payment, or the interest received is 280 divided by 1 plus the required rate of return. The required rate of return by the investor, what he is requiring is nothing but the 7%, right? So 7% is the required rate of return. So we have a situation, say we assume that there is an investor and he wants a rate of return, or a required rate of return, say 7 percentage. So suppose R is 7 percentage. So 7 percentage can be written as 0.07. So 1.07 for the first year, and for second year 264 divided by, for second year 1.07 the whole square, plus 248 divided by 1.07 whole cube, plus 232 divided by 1.07 whole power 4, plus 216 divided by 1.07 0.07 whole power 5. So here you'll be asking that where is the maturity value? The sum of the issuer has to repay the maturity back. Here we have paid the maturity value in equal installment. So we have amortized the maturity amount, okay, for its useful life of the bond. So it is already included in that. So there is no need of separate payment of that. So already it is included into that. Now we have to do the discounting part and we will be calculating the value of the bond. So this can be written in the table format also. So we have 5 year, so we can write year. Then we have the cash inflow. Then we have the present value factor. I simply put it as PV factor, which is nothing but 7%. That is your required rate of return. Then we'll be calculating the present value cash flow. So here we have total 5 years: first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. Then cash flow of each period. For first period cash flow we have 280, then 264, then we have 248, then we have 232, then we have 216. Right now we have to calculate the present value factor at 7%. So this can be calculated in your BA2 plus calculator also. If you are having the Android mobile or the tab, you can download the BA2 plus calculator and you can calculate the present value factor, right? So I'll be just helping out how you will be doing that. I'll be switching over to the BA2 calculator. So this is your BA2 calculator. So in this, we'll be calculating the present value factor of 7%, right? Say n is, I will clear the screen first. First, you have to just clear the screen. For first year, what is the present value interest factor? So press 1 for first year, n is for first year. Then the interest rate is nothing but 7%. I put 7 and I press 1/y. That is your 7 percentage, right? Then now you have to compute the present value. So compute the present value. See, we have to calculate the present value factor of 7 percentage. So what we'll be doing is that we'll be using the BA2 plus calculator. So if you have the uh, Android mobile or the BA2 plus calculator, you can automatically calculate the present value. So what does it mean actually, present value of 7 percentage? Suppose in the future value, uh, in future value, suppose rupee 1 is there. Okay, in future we have rupee 1. Okay, today what is the value of today of this rupee 1? So what is the value of this rupee 1 of today's value? So that is your present value. So we'll be calculating what is the present value factor for the rupee 1 of today. Suppose the interest rate is 7 percentage, okay, and the period is for 1, the end period is 1, right? So it's nothing but we have the timeline over here, right? So in the timeline, the future value is rupee 1 and what is the present value today, okay, where the timeline period is nothing but 1 year and the rate of interest is 7 percentage. So this can be inputted, these three values can be inputted into the uh, BA2 plus calculator, and we will be getting the present value factor. So here we are calculating the present value factor of 1 rupee, and we'll be substituting the value over here. Then we'll be multiplying the cash inflow into the present value factor, and we'll be adding the present value of cash flows, and we'll be determining the calculation of the bond, the present value of the bond. So let us get into the B8 plus 2 calculator. So this is your BA2 plus calculator. So in this you have to enter the value, right? So first thing is that you do a clear work over here. You have the, in the third row you have n, which is nothing but the number of years, and next thing is your year. Okay, it is nothing but the interest rate, right? So here interest rate that we are having, or we have the required rate of return that we are having is 7%. PV is nothing but your present value, right? PMT is annuity, that is not required, and FV is nothing but the future value. So you'll be entering the future value, we'll be entering the number of years, which is nothing but n, and we'll be entering the value 7%, which is nothing but required rate of return, and we will be computing the present value. So that will be the present value factor for 1 rupee for the first year with the required rate of return of 7 percentage. So let us enter the value. So first press 1, then press n. So n will be having the storing the value of first year. So this is first year. Then 7% is the required rate of return. Press 7. Then I/y. This will be a required rate of return 7%. Then we have to press rupee 1, right? So 1, put it minus, and press FE. So the future value is nothing but rupee 1. So it should be put in negative 1, right? Then only we'll be getting the present value in positive. Now compute. So in the top row, you have the top left hand row, first row we have CPT. So you have to press CPT and PV simultaneously. CPT compute present value. So this will be a present value factor for the first year, 0.9346. So this can be rounded off into 0.935. The similar way for second year, I'll just do a clear work over here. Press 2 and n. This will be a second year, right? Then 7% is the required rate of return. Then 1 rupee for the future value. I'll just store the value. Then you have to compute the present value factor. So you'll be getting 0.873 for the second year with the required rate of return of 7%. Similar way, third year n, and 7% is the required rate of return. Then 1 rupee the future value, and you have to compute the present value factor. So this will be the present value factor for the third year, 0.816. Similar way for fifth year I can calculate 5, and I'll be storing the value in n. Similar way 7% is the required rate of return, so I/y. Then I'll be pressing 1, then minus, this will be stored in FE future value, and I will be computing the present value, which is nothing but 0.713, right? So these are the present value factor that I have written in my notebook. Let us get just substitute the value directly from the calculating with the help of the BA2 plus calculator. Now let us substitute the value that I have already written in the notebook separately with the help of the BA2 calculator. Now the first year present value factor that we have calculated is nothing but 0.935. Then second year we have 0.873. Then third year you have 0.816. Then you have 0.763. Then you have 0.713. So I will be multiplying the cash inflow and the present value factor. So I'll put it as 1 and I'll put this as 2. So 1 into 2. right? So cash inflow, 280 into 0.935, I'm getting 261.80. Then I'll be multiplying 264 into 0.873, I'm getting 230.47. Then I'll be multiplying 248 into 0.816, I'm getting 202.368. Then I will be multiplying 232 into 0.763, 177.016. Then 216 into 0.713, I'll be getting 154.008. So when I will be adding this and all, right? So when I'll be adding this and all, I'll be getting the uh, present value of the total present value, which is nothing but the value of the bond. So when I'll be adding, I'll be getting 1025.66. So this is your value of the bond when there is an installment payment at a certain period of time. So this is the one type of variation of a redeemable bond. In next lecture, we'll be doing some other variation. Thank you for watching.